What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too if you enjoy the content, of course. And don't forget you can follow us on podcast too now, so you can take us with you wherever you go, and you can even join YouTube membership or head on over to Patreon where you can join us there. Only if you want to though, of course. And yesterday we had a new member, Darkly Angelic. Thank you so much for joining us. You're truly appreciated. And a big apology to Mallory, who I hadn't had on my membership list for a while. I'm really sorry about that, but you're on there now. So thank you so much for your support. And just a huge thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to sit in there and listen to me. You know, I know I say it all the time, but it's just absolutely crazy. Thank you so much. And with that being said, let's get straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Xenofection. Am I the arsehole for telling a friend's boyfriend her intentions of getting pregnant? A couple of years ago, a close friend, Ashley, started a long distance relationship with a guy, Chris. He has been really good to her, and after meeting in person a few times, they decided to move in together. I was super happy for her, as she had a few bad relationships over the years and it was nice to see her in a healthy one. That joy faded the last couple of months before she moved a few states over to be with him. The issue isn't her moving, but that she repeatedly joked about having a baby from Chris. At first I accepted it as jokes, but over time I realised Ashley was serious. For context, Ashley has 2 children from a previous relationship, ages 10 and 12. Chris absolutely doesn't want kids. He told her this at the start, and anytime she hinted possibly wanting more, he shot it down, saying it was a deal breaker. Now, Chris is more than willing to accept her children as his own, because he loves her, and after meeting their kids, them as well. He's accepted they are a package deal with her, and since they are at an age where they are semi-independent, it's not an issue for him. To me, Chris is a real bro for taking on her kids without issue. Hearing Ashley say she wants a baby out of him, one way or another, bothered me to no end. It's hard enough to find a partner that treats you well and accept children that aren't their own. To find one that does and then talk about plotting to force a baby seems gross and manipulative. Before her move, I had sat down with Ashley trying to talk sense into her. At first she resisted, but finally it seemed she understood how shitty it would be. After I felt like she understood, I put the issue behind me and helped support her through the hassle of moving. A few days after she left, I got a call from a mutual friend who delves into the Wiccan/metaphysical realm. She was distraught and confessed to me that shortly before Ashley's move, Ashley had come to her asking for a fertility spell. This friend didn't feel comfortable about it and refused. When pushed, she said she cast a spell for a healthy and honest relationship and told Ashley it was for fertility. As you can imagine, I was livid. I messaged Ashley confronting her about what I had learned, and she laughed it off as she was desperate. But magic is fake anyway, so what's the harm? She then let it slip that since Chris was planning on getting a vasectomy in a few months, she had poked holes in their condoms as a last-ditch resort. At that point, I couldn't stay silent. I gathered up screenshots of all the conversations over the last few months and sent them to Chris. He understandably freaked out and kicked her out. Now, Ashley hates me because she was kicked out after a huge move and didn't have a job or money to make it back. She said I'm a terrible person for putting her and her kids out on the street. Am I the arsehole here? Should I have kept it quiet? Now from the last line, you didn't get kicked out, she got herself kicked out from doing that shitty behaviour, man. That's trapping someone when they clearly stated they don't want babies, and she's going ahead and doing it anyway. Poking holes in condoms, fucking shitty move, oh my word. Not the arsehole in any shape or form in my opinion. But let's go down to the comments to see what we can find. Potential You says, not the arsehole, you're literally saving someone from being baby trapped. We need more people like you. International A-Side says, not the arsehole, you didn't get her kicked out, she did with her deceitful and potentially very harmful behaviour. This is worse than cheating on someone in my opinion. Can you imagine if it were the other way around and he were the one poking holes in condoms? People would drag him through the mud. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to do it in many places. Choosing to be a parent or not is incredibly personal and should never ever be a coerced decision. Considering how awful and disrespectful she is to someone she's supposed to be in love with, I don't think you're losing out on much of a friend here. You're a hero in my eyes. Fardy McJiggin says, not the arsehole, and I'm guessing her previous bad relationships were partially her fault. She needs professional help. Wow. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know what you think of this person in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from That Person Is There. Am I the arsehole for saying not my problem when my niece entered my room and saw a TV show that isn't appropriate for kids? My brother decided to bring my niece round last minute. My parents knew about 2 hours in advance, while I had no idea they were even coming until they arrived at the door. Originally I was watching The Umbrella Academy in the living room, but as soon as I saw my 4-year-old niece, I switched it off and went to my room. I didn't want my niece seeing the show as it isn't appropriate for children, plus everyone would be in the room. So I started studying with the show in the background in my room, door shut. About 40 minutes into the visit, the door opened and my niece ran in. I wasn't paying much attention and thought it might have been the cat coming in and just kept working on my work. I told my parents and brother beforehand that I do not want my niece in my room at all as I'm studying and need to focus. Before I knew it, my niece screamed and ran out the room. From what I gathered, she looked at my TV that had a graphic scene playing. I didn't fully realise my niece was there until she screamed. My brother came in furious asking what was wrong with me having an adult show on with a small child in the house. I told him how he himself knew my room was off limits to his daughter. He needs to watch her and make sure she doesn't go somewhere she shouldn't. He screamed at me saying that as her auntie it's also my responsibility to ensure she doesn't see things she shouldn't. I told him, sorry, but this isn't my problem. The door was closed and she entered. You should have been watching her because, well, she is your daughter and I did say I'm busy with my coursework. He stormed off and my parents came in agreeing with my brother, but I told him the same as my brother. This isn't my problem. They all knew my room was off limits to my niece. If she came in, then it is on them as I am busy. But they are all saying I'm an arsehole. I don't think so at all. Am I the arsehole? Edit, my door doesn't click shut or have a lock. I put a coat rack thing that hangs over the door to help jam it shut a little. Edit 2, if anyone is questioning why I'm saying Umbrella Academy is an adult show, DM me. I don't want to put spoilers in the comments. My family knew I didn't realise she was in my room until she screamed. I was going to start watching that show last night actually. It looks really good. I haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers please. But I think the whole thing is respecting boundaries and respecting your room. You know, you told me you don't want them in there. And if your brother's that entitled to say like their little one can just run everywhere and everyone else is responsible for their child, fuck him, man, you know? You're not responsible for that kid if you don't want to be. I mean, I consider myself responsible for like my nieces and nephews when I'm around, but everyone is different and everyone treats their family how they want to, you know. And I'm not saying OP is a bad person for doing that, because if they want their own space, then absolutely, you know. And they did tell them at the very start that they don't want the niece in their room, so for them to disrespect that and then blow up about her about it is just not on in my opinion. So not the arsehole. But let's go down into the comments to see what we can find. Slithery Pringle says, not the arsehole. Everyone was made aware of your request prior to that happening, and I'm sure they had no problem with it then. They're just throwing their anger at you because they know they're supposed to be keeping an eye on her and failed. Definitely not the arsehole. Megan Shadow says, not the arsehole. You were in your room with the door shut. Instead of yelling at you, he should have been parenting his kid by talking her down from whatever scared her and reinforcing the lesson that the closed door means knock and ask to come in. Comfy Mistake says, not the arsehole. What the fuck do they do when they're watching an adult show? Do they watch Dora the Explorer when their daughter isn't in the room just in case? Doubtful. You were in your room when she came in. She's not going to be scarred for life from a show. They're being overly dramatic. And I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Conflicted Grandpa. Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my daughter see her children? Hello world of Reddit. I am very conflicted about what's happening with my family and am desperate for some judgment. I am 70 male. I was with my wonderful wife Susan from 1967 to 2020 when she sadly died at the age of 70 earlier this year. I was absolutely devastated. We're together for over 50 wonderful years, and during our time together we had 2 children, Tim 45 and Laura 44. Susan and I tried our best as parents and gave them good childhoods, I think. They were well loved and never went without. Tim did well for himself, went to university and got a job with the degree he studied, and is married and has 3 kids, 10 to 15. Laura, however, went in the complete opposite direction of her brother. She went to university hell-bent on studying medicine, but dropped out at 20 after meeting her boyfriend, John. He had no ambition in life and dragged Laura into a world filled with drugs, alcohol and other unsavoury things. Susan and I were not impressed with the lifestyle John and Laura were living. I was not a fan of John, but tried my best for Laura, as she was my daughter and she proclaimed to love him. The relationship was incredibly toxic, involving cheating and abuse on both sides and constant drug binges. The relationship was on and off for years and produced Laura's 2 kids, 16 female and 10 female. She stayed with John until her youngest was about 3 and kicked him out. She seemed to finally want to beat her addictions, and I even paid for her to go to rehab, and I looked after her kids with Susan. Laura came out a changed woman and even turned into a decent mother. This lasted only 2 years, where she got back with John, got back to alcohol and drugs, and became a danger to the girls. Social services took them away after a dangerous incident. John and Laura weren't allowed contact, and both of them eventually signed away their parental rights. Susan and I became the girls' guardians. Both of my daughters were traumatised, but Susan and I tried our best. They eventually settled and became happy and didn't seem bothered to not having their parents. Tim also helped out greatly, and the girls have a great relationship with their uncle and cousins. Laura has recently surfaced after about 4 years and reached out to me on Facebook. I learnt John had passed away. She went back to rehab and even has a stable job and is living with a trusted friend. She also wants to see the girls. I told her she was happy she got her life back, but that she really messed up as a mother. I talked to the girls, and the oldest downright refused to see her, and the youngest cried at night when she learnt her mother was back and doesn't want to see her mum. I told Laura that the girls don't want to see her, and I was sorry. She has since called me an arsehole and says I'm refusing her children. Tim says Laura's the arsehole as she chose drugs and drink over being a mum. I'm really conflicted by this all. I'm just an old man, and I don't want to upset anyone. Edit, the youngest cried and doesn't want to see her mum. I never once lied to her and said her mum didn't want to see her. Wow, that's a heartbreaking story, especially the start where he's lost his wife as well and he's having to deal with this by himself, man. What a gentleman, what a gentleman. But in my opinion, I'm not sure if I'm right, so always call me out if you think I'm right. I'm absolutely always open to hearing it. I think OP in this situation is doing the right thing. He asked the girls if they want to see her, and it should be their choice. I mean, I think they're old enough now. Maybe not so much the 10-year-old, or maybe so, but 16 and 10, I think they're in the right place to make their own decisions, you know. If they want to see her, it's their choice, and they might want to change that later on in life, and I think the mum needs to respect that. She fucked up big time in her life. I don't know what triggered the social services to take away kids, but they don't do that lightly, so something big happened there. Obviously, we don't know what, we can only take guesses, but, you know, something big happened for them to take them away. And for them to sign away their parental rights, so God knows. So I can't say OP is the arsehole in this situation in any shape or form. In fact, they're an incredible person for taking on those 2 girls at their age. God bless that dude. But let's go down to the comments below to see what we can find. Pale Scottish girl says, not the arsehole. Laura made her bed and has to lie in it. Social services don't take your kids away for no reason. You're doing what you believe is right for your granddaughters. You even asked them what you wanted. You sound like a loving grandpa. 42 Daisy Pusher says, not the arsehole, it's up to the girls and they've made their choice. Laura doesn't get to waltz back into their lives whenever she wants and make demands after what she put them through. You're doing the right thing. B4 Pangaea says, based on how the kids say they feel and what they want, and apparently they don't want anything to do with their mother, not the arsehole. Username says, not the arsehole in these kinds of situations. Doesn't matter what anyone but the children think. What does Laura want to do? Force the kids to talk to her? They are the victims in this, and you must do what's best for them. If they don't want to see her, she doesn't get to see them. Judging by their reactions, the idea of seeing her is too much for them. Laura was a bad mum. Nothing can change that. She can improve herself and live a good life, but that doesn't mean others are going to accept her. She'll just have to wait for her daughters to make that decision, if they ever do. Daughters don't want to see their abusive mother. Laura has to deal with that. End of story. From what I could tell, you and your wife are great guardians. They trust you and are happy to be living with you now. Keep doing what you're doing. Wow, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Wedding Excite. Am I the arsehole for having a dress code for our wedding? Hello everyone, we, 29 male and 24 female, are getting married this September. Up until recently, everything had been going to plan, and our months of hard work planning had been paying off. The issue lies in the dress code. We've been clear from the beginning there's going to be a white tie event, so of course there are strict rules attached to that. One thing we were really looking forward to is our wedding shoot. We've spent a large amount of our own money on a photographer, who we hired after weeks of research and shopping recommendations. The photographer is highly sought after in our area, and we're lucky to book him last year in advance, so naturally we're taking this seriously. We've been clear from the very start that the dress code would be fully enforced. The invitations we sent explicitly told our guests what we'd be expecting from them. white tie, no unnaturally dyed hair, no visible tattoos or piercings, and that they were free to decline the invitation if they had a problem with this. We sent everybody who RSVP'd a reminder over email several weeks ago, repeating this instruction. This was going fine until one of our mothers had recently posted on Facebook a picture of a cocktail-style dress she wants to wear on the day. Of course, this isn't included in our dress code, so we informed her right away that the dress would be unacceptable. Another woman, a family friend, asked if she could bring flat shoes to change into after the ceremony. Again, we directed her to the white tie instructions. Unfortunately, this caused a lot of unnecessary drama throughout both our families and even some friends. Both sets of parents, cousins, some siblings and many more people have messaged us privately to ask us to relax our dress code and allow them to be flexible. This isn't happening, so we just pointed to our white tie only policy and told them that they accepted the rules when they RSVP'd. In our opinion, while wearing knee-length dresses and suits rather than a tux might be appropriate for day-to-day life, they will doubtlessly look at a place at a wedding that is supposed to be fully formal. We are hosting a private event where we are able to set the rules. Having been to other weddings over the years, we have fully complied with the wishes of the marrying couple, and we do not see why we should not be given the same treatment. Since we made this clear, we've been called arseholes by people around us. However, in our opinion, this is our wedding and we've been clear about our preferences all along. We have even told our guests that if anyone has a problem with this, they are free to drop out, even though we will still be paying for their seats now, and not attend. Am I the arsehole having a dress code at our wedding? Edit, just so you know, everyone shouting Bridezilla is being very sexist. I'm the man in this relationship, and while my fiance and I are agreeing on this issue entirely, I'm the one who posted this submission. Now, before I say this is going to be my opinion only, but from what I can see, this wedding is going to be boring as hell, man. And you're enforcing a white tie, which isn't truly a white tie. I don't think in anywhere a white tie says no unnaturally dyed hair, visible tattoos or piercings. You're taking everyone's freedom of expression away, and it's just ridiculous. In my opinion, a wedding is about showing someone that how much you love them and having your family around you to celebrate that. Who cares what people wear? Some people can't afford to come in white tie and all that sort of thing. If you want them at your wedding, you've got to be flexible. That's all there is to it. I'd rather my family turn up wearing whatever the hell they want than feeling like they can't because they have to wear a suit or something like that. It's awful. In my opinion, I think you just lost track of what it's all about. And I think those wedding photos are just going to be boring as hell. Everyone just in a tux, man. What the hell? But let's go down to the comments to see what we can find. Potentially Knox says, "You're the arsehole. It's your wedding and you can do what you want, but it's a wedding, not a photo shoot or a play. The stuff about piercings, tattoos and hair colour is especially ridiculous. If all you care about is nice pictures, then hire models. That way they look exactly how you want them to look and they won't complain. If you want an actual party with real people, you need flexibility." Fleabag Wannabe says, "You're the arsehole for implementing a weird version of white tie. In what universe does white tie include heels? I don't own heels. I've been to several balls wearing jeweled flats. And of course, hair colour, piercing, tattoos, etc. are completely outside the remit of a dress code. I suspect instead of white tie, you have a very constrained idea of some sort of classy event in mind, which of course is not classy at all. You're being a snob and a poor host. The idea of a dress code is to inform people of expectations of what to wear, not to form a restrictive code. This is a formal event, not a nightclub, and you'd be rude beyond belief to bar people from coming because they don't own or feel comfortable in the kind of clothes you want to see in your bloody photos. It should be an occasion to celebrate with your nearest and dearest. You're making it all about the look. The good news is, with that behaviour, you are telling people who you really are." Stormscaper says, and quotes, "No unnaturally dyed hair, no visible tattoos or piercings," and then says, "Are you my old high school? It's difficult to give judgment because I usually firmly believe in the your wedding, your choice rule, but the guidelines dictating hair, tattoos, piercings seems excessive. Surely for some of your guests, changing hair colours and covering up tattoos will be expensive, a real hassle, and would deter them from attending. Additionally, what counts as natural hair colour, and does that change depending on the ethnicity of the person? Overall, I go with you're the arsehole. The tipping point being that you won't allow some poor lady to change from uncomfortable heels into flats after the ceremony is over. I mean, what if you have a leg pain / movement disability that makes wearing heels difficult? Does that mean you can't attend? I'm confused as to where you draw the line, but I think it's pretty harsh." And what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 4. And that is it for today's stories. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And as always, I truly appreciate the time out of your day for being here. You know, it really means the world to me. Seeing your comments, you know, you inspire me. You really, really do. Thank you so, so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love to you.